Welcome guys to the HTML and CSS tutorial series. In previous tutorial series, we have worked with element selector. Now in this tutorial series, we will start with ID selector. So we have already worked with element selector and we have seen this output that if we have two different paragraphs on the page, so it will apply the same CSS because we have used the element selector. Now if I want a different CSS, what we will do, we will use ID selector. So ID is for basically to identify a unique element on the page. Okay, so what you will do, for first paragraph I will add ID as suppose paragraph 1. Similarly for a second paragraph I will add ID equals to paragraph 2, that is para 2. So save the changes. Now instead of applying CSS by using element selector, I want to apply CSS by using ID selector. What you need to do is, you need to copy this ID. You can go to your CSS. Instead of element selector, now I will specify hash. This hash indicates ID selector and name of the ID, that is para 1. Okay, so I will save the changes. Now if you check output in browser, it will apply CSS to only paragraph 1 because now we are specifying the ID. Okay, similarly if I want a different CSS, you can go with ID of that paragraph tag, that is para 2. So from here I will copy. We need to use hash. Hash indicates ID selector, name of the ID, and you can open the curly bracket, close the curly bracket. Inside it you will specify your CSS. So here I will use background color. For background color we have already seen, we have this website to choose your hexadecimal color code. So now here I will specify this one is my background color for paragraph. So I will say background color and paste it. For text color I will specify white. Okay, save the changes. Now if you check output in browser, so we'll specify two different background and text color applied for two different paragraph because we have specified the ID selector. Okay, so purpose of ID selector is you have the same element in your page but you want different CSS for them, you can use ID selector. Clear? Okay, now third one is class selector. Now this is very important CSS selector that you need to understand. Now class selector is used for whenever you want to make a group of different elements of HTML and you want to apply the CSS. So take an example. So I will be having division tag. In this division I have added, suppose this is my sample div tag. Okay, as well as I will add one h1 heading. This is my h1 heading. Okay, now I want to apply a common CSS, same CSS for different HTML elements. Suppose I want to apply CSS for this h1 heading, first paragraph and the div tag. So for that I will prefer what class selector. And what type of CSS I want to apply here is I want center aligned text. Okay, what you will do, you can create a class selector by using dot. So this dot says it's a class selector and you can specify any meaningful name. Suppose center text, this is my class name, and I will apply text align to the center property. Okay, text align is a CSS property. Center means what? I want to align all the text to the center of the screen. So for that I have used a meaningful name for a class, that is center text. Okay, what you need to do is you can copy this class name. I will save the CSS file. We'll go to the HTML. Inside this tag, for example, I want to apply class to this heading. So I will write here class, name of the class, center text. Similarly, I want to apply center text for the paragraph. So I will specify class and name of the class. I want to apply center text for the division as well. So I will apply class and the same class name, and I will save the HTML file. If you check, the class equals to name of the class is same in every tag. H1 tag same, paragraph and the D tag. That means what? I want to apply the same CSS for H1, paragraph and the D tag. So if you check the output now, so the heading is centered aligned, first paragraph is centered aligned, and division tag is centered aligned, but not for the paragraph because we haven't applied for the paragraph too. Okay, so this is the purpose of class selector. Okay, you can add as number of as CSS inside it. For example, I want to set font family to suppose monospace. I will save this. If you check the output, you will get this, right? So it will be same for all, right? So this is the way that you can apply the class selector. Understood? Okay, now in the next tutorial series I'm going to start with box model in CSS. So please like this video as well, please subscribe the channel and keep watching to the tutorial series. Thank you so much guys.